Flow State is the most unique relic we have ever seen in the history of leagues in old school RuneScape. This is the first ever player designed relic designed by the first 3 players to finish the Gridmaster board back in 2025, as a result giving us Flow State, which is a tier 7 relic to compete alongside the Reloaded relic. I was fortunate enough to roll the Flow State relic in my randomized League 6 build, so I have some pretty serious first-hand experience using this relic. This is the least picked relic in the history of leagues to the best of my knowledge, at a whopping 5.45% of players picking it within the first 7 days, and I want to discuss whether this is a result of the relic being terrible, poorly designed, or poorly placed by Jagex to put it at tier 7 against the Reloaded relic. In my opinion, to sum up my experience so far with Flow State in 2 words, is that Flow State relic is fucking dog shit. On a more serious note, I want to discuss Flow State as a relic, and I want to know your opinions on whether or not Flow State was just a shit relic by design, whether it was Jagex's fault by placing it against the Titan like Reloaded in tier 7 with no other choice, and that's the reason this relic failed, or does the player base just simply not care about tick manipulation and speeding up actions, which I think is a very valid argument for some of the reasons content has been held back by certain parts of the community in old school RuneScape complaining about speed and tick manipulating training methods in the main game. Turns out people don't actually give a shit about that. Let me know what you think down below. Why you think Flow State was the weakest relic in the entire league, in the entire history of leagues. And not only that, where you would place it on the tiers of this year's leagues. Like if you were to replace it or switch it with another relic, where would you put it? I know a lot of people want to switch it with Abundance. I think that opinion is very crayon in the fucking brain, but I'll discuss why in just a moment, and I'll go through my experience with Flow State right now. Don't be afraid to hit the like and subscribe button while you're down there. I greatly appreciate the support. Subscribing helps me out a shit ton, and if you want to come out to the live streams, they're always a good time. Kick.com/KingCondor is the best way to go about it. Hit the follow button over there, and I'll chuck 3 inches on the end of your cock. That's a King Condor guarantee. I will start off by saying with Flow State, I have never cut magic logs so fucking fast in my life. Holy shit. But I do have Barbarian Gathering, which I think stacks exceptionally well, because not only is every action being done at a rate of 2 game ticks, this includes mining, woodcutting, fishing, fire making, including bonfires, fletching, crafting. You've got, I've got the list here, I don't know why I'm thinking about it. Prayer, putting bones on the altar. You've got anything with smithing, farming, magic, but only with alchemy and transmutation. It doesn't stack with like the smithing kit, but it does stack with the fletching knife and the diabolical worms. And then you've got minigame actions, so Wintertodd, Temperos, and thieving valuables in Valamor. It does speed up a lot of actions. I don't really think it's that exciting though for most players, especially when you can just reload into another previous relic. Now, one thing it does do, which I won't fault the relic for, I'll put a list of all the, like the table here for all your multipliers so you can see the sort of math that you get out of this relic. One thing I will highlight is that cooking in the gauntlet is slowed down. And I think that's more Jagex's fault than the relic, so we won't fault Flow State for making cooking slow, because you can spam click the stove to make it 1 tick again. I'm just going to say Jagex is not, they don't have the initiative to really make these sort of, I guess, changes before the relic is released. That's just not the very Jagex way. So we will remove that fault from now. We won't blame the relic for slowing down cooking there. Everything else is effectively sped up between 1.5x to 4x speed, I believe, which is fucking huge. It is very good, it is very fast, but it is incredibly useless, and it only really stacks well, in my opinion, with Barbarian Gathering, because you get the crystal tools and you get that additional 50% roll to go again if you fail, which helps Flow State shine. I know that you can have it with Endless Harvest, which is pretty cool, but you're already AFKing anyway and likely going to have a lot of those skills maxed. And then you've got it with Abundance on tier 1 as well, which Abundance doesn't really benefit from. Abundance is, in my opinion, the strongest tier 1 relic, but simultaneously, it's effectively, Flow State is just a weaker version of Barbarian Gathering, in my opinion, just straight up. It is the same relic, just shitter, and then also does a few other skills as well. But in terms of gathering, I'd rather the crystal tools and then the 50% chance to go again, because what people didn't realize, at least I and some of my chatters didn't realize at the start, was I thought Flow State meant every 2 game ticks, you're mining a rock, mine a rock, chop a log, get a fish, get a fish. No, you just do the action every 2 game ticks. So you're mining, like if you're mining rune, every 2 game ticks, you're rolling for a rune ore, but you're not getting the rune ore. If you were to get the ore, gather the resource every 2 game ticks, this relic becomes so much more powerful, and then therefore becomes a stronger pick alongside a popular relic like Abundance or even Endless Harvest. But because it just rolls against getting the resource, it loses a lot of its power, and that's where obviously Barbarian Gathering, if you were to pick that, kind of closes that gap and then gives you that more almost 2-tick relief. But as you can see behind me, I'm cutting magic logs right now with both Barbarian Gathering and Flow State. And sometimes I get like, magic log, magic log, magic log. But then there's periods where I don't get shit. And I'm just kind of cutting like normal. And it feels like Flow State isn't really doing any work here. So this is a really dead empty relic, which I think its failure is a result of many aspects. I think it fails because it is a poorly designed relic. I think it definitely could do with a bit more juice. I think it fails because tick manipulation is really not that important. And of course, given the first 3 people to finish the bingo board in Gridmaster is going to be the more sweatier tick manipulation, I guess, efficient player base. So they're going to want to pick a relic like this. And I think this really highlights how irrelevant and how little the player base cares about wanting to speed up the actions of their skills, even if they don't have to manually do it by clicking on a fucking item. No one cares about tick manipulation skilling. And then furthermore, especially, I think the biggest reason it failed is putting it next to Reloaded is obviously so big. Reloaded in tier 7 is massive. Reloaded is arguably the strongest, if not second strongest relic of this entire league, competing with Larcenist for the strongest fucking relic in the league without fucking question. Those two are the ultimate fucking combo. This relic just, it failed. It failed. It's a player design relic that failed, and I don't know if we're ever going to get another player design relic. I'd love to see more. I think Flow State needs more love. It needs more beef. It definitely should be, if it's going to be a tier 1 relic, which a lot of people think, I think it should replace Barbarian Gathering or mix in with Barbarian Gathering to, instead of have that 50% additional chance to gather a resource, just make it 2-tick. Just make it so you gather a resource every 2-tick alongside everything else. It kind of goes with the whole abundance, what is it, the plus 10 production prodigy thing where you get plus 10 in all non-combat skills versus getting faster actions in all non-combat skills. I think Flow State combined with the likes of Barbarian Gathering having those crystal tool effects would have been far more powerful, far more beneficial. I wouldn't replace it with a relic. I would simply merge it with another relic. I think that's my personal opinion in my experience, and obviously I've used it alongside Barbarian Gathering, and that is where I've seen it shine the most. I cannot see it happening alongside Abundance. I can't see it being worth alongside Eternal Harvest or Endless Harvest, because Endless Harvest is a very AFK mindset, and I feel like people that are Endless Harvesting aren't fucking there anyway, so they don't really need or feel like they would probably want to see the benefits from Flow State. It'll speed up your gathering, sure, but do you really give a shit? No, you're AFKing the fucking league. I think in the future, combine Flow State with another relic, and then it can be as weak as it is, or buff it so that it's guaranteed to gather a resource, and I think you'll have a much more powerful and more appropriate relic. But Flow State, bit of a fumble this year in my opinion. A low tier picked relic. I don't think it was strong to put it at tier 7. I don't even know if we had a third tier 7 relic, so there was 3 choices: Reloaded, Flow State, and then another relic. I don't know if that would have even made much difference. The fact that Flow State was a lower picked relic than Grimoire really shows how bad it is, because Grimoire, which is another relic I got fucking randomed into, by the way, in my randomized league, is terrible. This is a fucking shocking relic. Grimoire sucks ass. So if you want to see me suffer through my League 6 randomized build, I am live at kick.com/KingCondor pretty much all the time. Don't be afraid to come by. Hit the subscribe button down below. I greatly appreciate your support. Flow State is a shit relic. It's been terrible this year. I think we all knew that. And my experience is that it needs work, it needs love. It's not the end. It can definitely come back. It just needs to come back a lot stronger and a lot more polished. My name is King Condor, and you've got a nice cock. Have a good night.